another check, meaning we saw it in multiple areas. Common standard across the classes, they're posted. Some things we need to work on for standard alignment. Standard needs to be posted larger. You know, we have them here, but if the student can't refer back to them and read them, you know, they're not being used properly, okay? The RFL 1.1, just asking the basic question, we say, what is the rigor? Connection with the standards. Students not asking questions. They need to be engaged. They need to ask questions, to remember the questions, to remember the answers, and to work any misunderstandings out. Level of task, increase the rigor to match expected performance. They can't reach that performance if we don't increase the rigor. Also, low-level questioning. We shouldn't be at the depth where knowledge level 1. Questioning need to increase for the students to be able to increase their learning. Standards not present at each station. Novel activity not tied to the standard. We're not just putting the work in front of them with no meaning. Everything should align, whether it's a novel or just a passage, it should align to the standard. Engagement, some of the goals, teachers engage with the students, which is excellent. Students learning communication, we heard that, the students talking to one another and showing that they understood what was expected of them. A strong academic feel is great for us to feel that when we walk into the classroom that the students are learning, the teacher is teaching, the connection and collaboration is done. Reference to anchor chart. One of the students asked, can I use my anchor chart? It's there, use it. You can use it. No evidence to complete. No evidence of complete this engagement. Even if it took someone a little moment to start, everyone worked on what was expected. Some active student learning. We saw structures in place for collaboration. Compliant engagement. Students able to tell what they were learning and why. Some things we need to work on. More collaborative planning. Planning tasks for student collaboration, for them to be able to work with each other and learn from one another, not just us just talking at them all day. Increase the rigor for engagement. More active engagement. Monitoring student performance on computer programs so they're just not clicking away and that they know accountability is there. After you do this task, I am going to check to make sure that you completed this story and all of task 1, task 2, task 3, and not you just going to the game task and you know the others are left undone. More student self-assessment in station. Going back to the checklist and making sure that they know what is expected of them. Yes,
and there was one more that we noted related to engagement, and that is in stations, there are times when kids are finishing what they're supposed to do, and then they're just sitting, they don't have any follow-up tasks. So, you know, there should be something for kids to do when they finish.
So we're adding follow-up tasks after completing the workstation, something we need to work on. At this point, do anybody have anything we should add to our goals or growth chart for any area? Let's go ahead and move on to the next steps. We can start with differentiation. What next steps do you see at this point would be something we need to work on, or something we can implement to make sure that some of those roles will be taken on the chart? Definitely something we can work on for the next steps when it comes to differentiated instruction. The teacher is putting up the chart for the workstation rotation, so it's something I think we should require teachers have it up, you know, the rotation for the intermediate, so the students know where they're going next and not have to wait 3-4 minutes telling the students, you go to this station, you're gonna go to this station. It should be automatically posted.
And so with that chart, then retrieve the routine. So
right. And that chart, you practice the routine and the procedures.
I think to offer PD or support the coaches for differentiation within those groups as students rotate to their centers? Continue.
This workstation,
Yeah, we've been
yes.
ongoing all year, so
I do
continue.
that, continue.
Specifically playing, I was
Specific-
gonna say specifically playing the tasks that they're engaged in, because I
Okay.
think we at least saw the teachers kind of changing what they're doing,
Mhm.
but they're all doing the same task. So if you look at a standard and say now, okay, looking at the data that we have about these students, how can we make a task for them that is aligned to the standard, based on where they are now, so that we can get them there by the time we're finished? You know, so having that continued planning for the tasks, differentiated tasks for students.
And I think, that I understand right now what teachers are trying to do is get kids ready to take the test. The test is a written experience. But everything we saw kids do in every classroom we went into was read and write. And that ultimately in differentiation, when you get close to the test, that's what they have to do is read and write. But they should be having differentiated instruction, and we didn't really see that.
Any other next steps for differentiated
So Dr.
instruction?
Ross, I want to go back to what Dr. Ross just suggested, differentiated instruction. So tell us what that looks like from your perspective.
So, for example, you may have kids who are, like as you're toward the beginning, this might be something you work on after the testing.
Okay.
But there might be kids at the beginning of the year who are much stronger auditorially, and you would want them to have the opportunity to be able to listen to text. So we did see that in one classroom today.
Okay.
To listen to text and then answer questions. Or you might have students who are much better, learn much better when they have the opportunity to interact around text that they've read. And we didn't see that in any classroom. There weren't any kids talking about having conversations about anything that they've read. And even in getting ready to prepare for the test, that could be a really strong strategy. When kids talk about what they learn it better.
Yeah, but we saw evidence of
Right, I think in
kids
person
talking
class, when I saw
about-
the student learning communication, where a student, they read the text, and the student was like, okay, let me put a check mark next to this sentence, because I remember when we read the question, this is the sentence that was stated in the question, so I saw, some student engagement and student communication happening in the classroom.
So it seems like we're trying to end that piece too with students' learning styles.
Right, being able to.
Right, well, and just presenting information in different ways. So there might be a question that's asked and kids go to 4 corners, depending on whether their answer is A, B, C, or D, and they talk about why they picked that answer, and then they argue with one another. That just getting kids more actively engaged in talking back to the content in some ways.
Do you have any next steps for engagement?
Can I add something to the DI one before we move on? I think we need to plan for opportunities for teachers to visit the model classroom in 2nd grade. For teacher, the way that she runs her teacher-led group and offers, she's planned and she executes differentiated instruction in a modeled way. I have one more as well. It could go in multiple areas, but I think it probably fits best here. So y'all mentioned you saw interns actively supporting students in other classes. That wasn't the case in primary. So just as a next step, making sure that interns, that we're planning for interns to be used in a manner where they impact students while they're in the classroom. And so it could be with a small group, on a skill or standard, But even too, we saw teachers passing out papers and doing housekeeping things while interns sat in chairs off to the side. So they're, again, just having a plan to use these interns.
So you did see the U-Fly interns there, but some were sitting as opposed to standing up and providing help.
Well, in the beginning, when we came in, they were standing to the back. And they weren't. Then when she was done, instead of putting them into groups based on their writing ability and having the highest group do it independently, and then have other groups have an intern, and then she take the lowest or whichever, they just walked around and helped individual students.
Is it in Ms. Hood's classroom? Which classroom?
It was in Miss Atkins.
Ms. Atkins' classroom?
Yes.
It's good for me to know, so when because I touch base with the new slide, they know the expectation, but again, they don't want to step over the teacher.
Exactly, so if she
we'll
could
collaborate with
explain,
one
yes,
another.
if she could
Yes.
plan and have them do each a small group, instead of just walking around, they could have
Troubleshooting,
nailed, they could have
basically.
nailed more kids with help that were really struggling.
And this is a simple example of differentiating tasks. So the teacher knew, you could tell by the way she was going to different tables, these children had difficulties with punctuation, these children had difficulty with spelling these words, these children didn't understand the sequencing. And that was all part of the rubric. So they could have taken those students into 3 separate groups. They could have worked on this thing, that thing, and the other thing, and then they would have come back because they'd been working on this for a few days. So she had enough information to know what they needed, and it was great she had that. And she was doing all the work herself. But if she could have divided among the 3 of them, and then the grandma was there too, then they could have really
There's 4 people.
gotten a lot. Yeah, yeah.
And that's a specific teacher because all
Sure.
the primary has them.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we saw it, so
Right.
then that goes to being specific to
To the
teachers.
teacher.
Right.
Yes, because on our K and 1 have them in there.
Sure, sure. And we did see the grandmas being used in other primary grades, working with small groups of students, doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Usually grandma.
Yeah, we did see great stuff happening, yeah.
Okay, moving on to engagement, what next steps can we take to, improve our engagement? Now, we talked about, we need to work on more collaborative planning, plan tasks with student collaboration, definitely increasing rigor. To increase rigor, I would say for engagement, you just need to plan something that's not paper pencil all the time. It's okay to get out the comfort zone and know that, okay, we're gonna be played. I always say every learning activity is a game, because when you say game, you have their attention. Even if, you know, we're gonna do this first, but it'll come down to, we're gonna review this standard, we'll have the paper, have a hook, not just in your writing, but have a hook to your lesson when it comes to engagement.
And I would say increase the use of collaborative structures,
Yeah.
because we saw some of that in some of our classrooms. There was one where the students were in a whole group and the teacher was asking these questions and the students were volunteering the answer, and they all wanted, you could tell they all wanted to answer the questions. And so, you know, just have partner 1 do this, partner 2, you know, some simple little tweak that would get them all have have the chance to talk and share their answers. Especially when we look at primary, because, you know, they all want to answer the questions.
There's been probably some Kagan strategies where
Yeah.
they'll maybe tell each other the answer to just
Right.
get it out.
Mhm.
And then you
Absolutely.
can call on certain people to say it aloud.
And again, that classroom we talked about at the teacher table, she actually partnered within her teacher table, you know, with her small group instruction. So that's another thing that would be a great thing for people to observe. You know, in her classroom, she had partner 1 showing partner 2 answers while she was there helping the other set of partners. There was just all kinds of,
And she gave them choice. I mean, there was-
yeah, there was a lot going on in that.
so it actually overlaps between DI and
Yeah,
engagement.
I agree, yeah.
Any other next steps for
Don't
engagement?
just take second grade and take first,
Plan.
take third.
Self-assessment for
That's
positive
taking
engagement
second
and
grade.
student self-assessment.
I just think we need to make sure that the teachers have planned in their tasks so that the students complete the I must do in order
believe you just stated providing academic choice at the workstation when the student is done, so just giving them something else to do. Whether it's a workstation, folders in the classroom, so they know, okay, I'm done with this workstation, I know to go to this area to get the next, task that can be completed.
It actually could increase the differentiation if they had a workstation focused on a particular skill or strategy or standard and 2 or 3 different activities there that students could choose to do 1 or even choose to do 3. So they're all focused on the same thing, but they may go in different ways.
Now for standard alignment, any next steps? Again, some of the goals, standard needs to be larger, definitely. Increase the size of the standards, making a connection with the standards. We said students not asking questions. Level of task, increase the rigor to match expected performance, low level questioning. Standard not present at each workstation. Activity not connected with the standard.
I think one thing that we were not able to see just because of the time that we were there is that clearly teachers are focused on trying to teach the standards, and we saw a lot of activities related to teaching the standards. The question is, what's the feedback after they complete their work connected to the standards? So it's like it should be a whole loop, and we didn't see that last part of the loop, but maybe it's there, but we didn't see it. So the question is, what happens after they do the work?
Feedback.
And I think we need to clarify, under the delta where it says the standard present at this workstation, I don't want that to be misunderstood as,
Standard not present
right.
at each.
I just think we need to clarify, because I don't want it to, like, they're going to be misunderstood that we want the standard present, like at the table that they're working on. It's that the task that's being completed at a learning station is reflective of a standard or supports the posted standard. Okay.
Well, I've got to say that they have to also, I mean, that standard may not be the one that's worked on at a practice, at a workstation this week. It might be the standard that they were working on last week, that they need to review.
And that might be a school decision, y'all decide that, but when we shared out, that's actually, it wasn't captured exactly the way we shared it out.
Well, and we did, so it could be that the task that was there was not aligned to a standard at all.
Period.
At this grade level, that could be part of it. So, yeah, I agree. We should expect to see, this is my opinion, we should expect to see all kinds of standards from that grade level there, because they should be reinforcing the things they already are prepared to do independently, not something that's new.
So any next steps for standard alignment besides feedback?
So we saw evidence of rubrics being used in both first and second grade. First grade, the rubric was aligned to the standard that was posted and that we saw explicitly taught. In second grade, the rubric was not aligned to any standard. It was very generic, and actually it had 4 items listed on the rubric, 3 of which I would consider to be behavior and routines. So it was name on the page, attitude about the work being produced, and forget what the third behavior.
Was it completion of the rubric?
Well, and the only one, and it was a stretch, that was academically aligned would be, and I say academically aligned, not standards aligned. It was, did the content stay on topic? So 3 of the 4 were based on behaviors and routines.
So, one of the things that I think would be a great next step, and Dr. Ross talked about self-assessment of work at workstations, but it would be fantastic if there was, and like I said, there could be, but if there was a competition with, students self-assessing themselves in their mastery of the standard. Like, here's the standard. Wow, I just did this, so I know that I can use text evidence to support my opinion. or whatever, so that they can kind of have that type of a conversation as they set goals for themselves. So maybe the rubrics could be something that is aligned to the standard, so the student has that kind of involvement.
So they can check.
Yeah.
I know
Right.
this.
And they were,
I can.
and they were using them.
Oh, they were.
So we just need to
Yeah.
make sure that what we have on there supports their learning. They were definitely using them.
So